Good afternoon and welcome to day 4 of the Business Exchange Southwest Charity Conference and Expo in partnership with Milstead Langdon Accountants and Stone King Law. I'm Anita Janes, founder of the Business Exchange, and I'm delighted to invite Chris Dawes of Dawes Training to the stage today. A professional commentator, presenter and CPD accredited public speaking, presentation and media training professional. Today, Chris is going to provide us with top tips for presenting online with confidence, something we all need in these times. The stage is yours, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Good morning, and good morning to everybody else. Let me just turn on the shared screen. There we go. Share that one up, because I do have a presentation to help guide us through, although we will touch on various parts of that. Now, as Anita has said, that the whole ethos of this is about how we can still present online with confidence. Now, I say with confidence because a lot of people find it quite alien. There's nobody in this room with me. I'm all on my own. I've just got this camera with a light on that tells me that it's live and a screen that shows that I'm there. And I know that for a lot of us, myself included, it's not fully natural. But we also need to make sure that we're presenting with impact. Now, even in person, did you realize that apparently statistically, public speaking is the #1 fear? Death is #2. Go figure, go make sense of that. That means I would rather be in the casket than delivering the eulogy. Absolutely crazy situation in reality. Well, the whole idea of my company that I set up, Dawes Training, is how important it is to turn that on its head, to grow in confidence, to increase your skill sets and increase your willingness to actually share our knowledge, our experiences, our passions, our products, our services, our opinions, heaven forbid, but about sharing them with others and sharing it more often. It opened doors for me. Now, you've seen that the company is called Dawes Training, and it is DAWES, as in my name, Chris Dawes. And it is about the fact that if you can increase your confidence, your skills and your willingness, you will open doors that you possibly don't even know exist yet. I am living proof of this. I still get nervous. I've been incredibly nervous in the build up to doing this. I commentate in front of tens of thousands of people, motorsports, my favorite sport, and I get nervous. I love it. I host awards nights. I give business presentations, all sorts of things. I'm hosting the Techies with Business Exchange, and I can't wait to do that. Is it next month? I've lost track of time now. But I will always get incredibly nervous. But at university, when I had to give presentations, I would literally be paralyzed by nerves, which is ridiculous because I'd be the person who would hold court in the pub. I mean, the library, just in case the parents are watching. I would hold court and be one of the, life and soul of a party. But suddenly put me in a structured presentation, whether it was via webcam or in person, just go to pieces. I would just not want to do it. I would crumble. I would forget things. I'd make mistakes. I wouldn't achieve what I wanted to achieve. And I set about working out, right, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? And why am I thinking and feeling those things? Sadly, in this country, we don't do any of it really in education, which is a real shame. But I managed to sort of look into it myself and try to find answers, try to find what I needed to do. And I got myself a degree, thankfully, and I went into sales and marketing, selling business-to-business IT solutions. And I had to go through it all again because it was a new kind of audience, new challenges. So I went back through that process again, and I got accused of making IT entertaining. I'm really proud of that one because that's not easy, and I'm dead chuffed. And I'd present all over the country. And all of a sudden, 11 years ago, I got an opportunity to start commentating on motorsport at our local circuit. And I say our because presumably the majority of, if not all, are fairly local, Castle Combe circuit. And I'm really proud that they call me now the voice of Castle Combe, which is just humbling for myself because that's where I went and watched with my dad as a 5-year-old and fell in love with the sport. And I now commentate at Silverstone, Brands Hatch, Donington Park, Oulton Park, abroad, on TV. I host their end of seasons awards nights and things like that. And it just blows my mind that I now get paid to do the things that paralyze me by fear. And that is why I created Open Dawes Training, to help other people to also open whatever their doors are. And we don't know what those doors could be. It could be more sales, bigger sales. It could be promotion. It could be a new job. It could be harmony amongst departments. Who knows? The possibilities around it. Delivering training. I train trainers to deliver training as well. I give media training to sports people. And I say media training, but also how they interact with sponsors, with supporters, fans, etc. as well. So the scope is really massive, and it is something that I genuinely believe all of us need to master. Allegedly, it is a soft skill. Once I got over the impact of it being a soft skill, allegedly, I realized, okay, it's a soft skill that gives our core skills a voice. We could be the best, but if we stay quiet, no one will know just how good we are, how much we know, how much we've done, how much we've seen. We need to share that. Equally, we have all grown from people sharing with us. And you can empower the next generation, your colleagues, whatever it is. And it is just such an exhilarating opportunity to be able to share your information with people. But the key thing here is, as we obviously today is about presenting or having meetings or providing training even online via webcam. Now, some people might turn around and go, well, surely that's old hat. We're back into our office premises. I think it's here to stay in reality to lesser or greater extents. I was very lucky that back when I was doing the IT solutions, I don't know what, 10, well, probably even started about 15 years ago, I was already giving demonstrations and presentations online because we had international clients or international prospects and things like that. So thankfully, I'd already been playing around in that environment, but it's going to stay. I had a meeting recently with a firm of solicitors, and I think it's fair to say that solicitors' practices are some of the most traditional. I think I can say that. That's the most politically sensitive way to say it. The most traditional in the way that they work, in the buildings that they reside in, etc. And yet this firm of solicitors, they've gone, right, obviously, like everybody else, we were forced into it last year with lockdown, that suddenly people were working from home. They've now gone from 2 premises to 1, with 2 of their departments are not going to come in at all. They're set up to now be able to work permanently from home. They've got the infrastructure in place. They've got the methods in place. They've got it set up that with clients, everything is done remotely. They've got meeting rooms available if they still need to. Other departments, they're sort of like hot seating and things like that. And that's a firm of solicitors. The reality is that it can help us save time. Instead of going, okay, I've now got a meeting up in Newcastle. That's a day. That's gone. That's 1 meeting a whole day. Whereas I could actually have 3, 4, 5 meetings in a day via video conference. Don't get me wrong. It still is not the same as what they say, press the flesh, meeting in person. But if I'm meeting somebody during a process, whether that's selling, whether it's training, whether it's whatever, and I would maybe interact with them properly 3 or 4 times, or maybe out of those 3 or 4 times, only 1 or 2 of them are actually in person. The rest of them could be done remotely. I've got companies that instead of dragging their whole sales force or whatever it happens to be from all different corners of the country into one place for a meeting, they do it via video conference. The environmental impact, all sorts of things like that, it's going to stay here to lesser or greater extents. So I really believe it's something that is really important for us all to be able to grasp. Now, a lot of these things that I'm going to take you on, though, are applicable to face-to-face meetings and presentations as well. But I'm going to focus for a second about specifically on online communication. And it's about, first of all, making sure we have the right perception for me. And one of the key things that I always believe in is Change your mentality from it's a presentation, I have to give a presentation, I am now a presenter. Throw that out. Get rid of it. Have a conversation. Face to face and via camera. Have a conversation with your people. Hopefully you can feel it now, is that I'm not trying to just present. I might have done at the very beginning when the nerves are in, but I relax into have a conversation with my audience. It's a lot harder when it's via camera, I accept, because I'm not actually having a conversation with anybody. But I think my TV training helps with this as well, is that you kind of imagine within the lens. I can see you all in that lens. What are you doing at the back there? So you have to kind of create the image in your head. Now, if you have a conversation, you will feel more relaxed when you're doing it, and you'll engage a lot more with your audience as well. Maybe think about it. If you've been to a presentation, think of one where they were a presenter. They might have even been a good presenter, but they were definitely a presenter to somebody that had a conversation with their whole audience. I'm not going to profess to being, a genius on this. I lucked into it. I didn't know I was doing it. The first time I knew that I was doing it was at Brands Hatch circuit, commentary box way up high, and I had tens of thousands of people there. And I very much like interacting with the crowd on social media. And they fed back to me, you make it feel like you're talking directly to me. And that's people I can't see in the middle of a big crowd all around the circuit. And I'm like, well, how am I doing that? And I searched within myself, and it is about the way you relax into it. Instead of, in that instance, being a commentator, I relaxed into a conversation. And instead of going, and yes, they're down to the first corner and they've moved up and it's changed, it'd be more like, can you see as they head down to all of you at the first corner there, look at the size of this field arriving as one. And they suddenly feel like they're being spoken with directly. It's the same in a presentation. It's the same within even online as well. You are able to do this because remind yourself, you know your stuff. All of you, all of the charities that are hopefully, I don't know how many we've got, but hopefully we've got plenty that are watching. You know your stuff. And the reason why I make that point is that what happens when we go, right, I've got a presentation. Okay, I've got to script this. Right, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. Then I'm going to say this. Forget it. You know your stuff. I'm going to say in a minute that, and we do a little section on, scripting and content. And I prefer to say content rather than scripting. Is you know your stuff. Just have a conversation. You could sit in a pub with your friends and talk the hind legs off a donkey about your expertise, your experiences, your knowledge, your organization. Well, do that. And your script is just a guide to go, ideally, I want to go in this order. I can look at it and remind myself, oh, I haven't talked about that part yet. That's all it is. I don't care if the order's different. It doesn't actually matter. It's only me that knows the order I intended to do it. So just know your stuff and have a chat with people. I like this quote I heard the other day. You're a messenger, not a messiah. Don't dictate, because you are putting pressure on yourself then going, right, I am about to say that this is this and this is that and this is the other. I've got to have a rigid script and I've got to be dictatorial. No, have a conversation, share information. Share it as a buffet for them to take as much or as little as is appropriate for them, as they want to on this particular day. It's a nice mind switch for you that go, yeah, I am just a messenger. I'm not stood up here as a messiah. Other deities and whatever are available. By doing this, you actually enable you to share stories, tell stories much more fluidly. It really will allow you to relax into it a lot more and get creative. It will always change. If you have been doing the same as me during lockdown, the only way we could interact with family and friends, sadly, it was really hard, was via Zoom and Teams and whatever else. We did chats, quizzes, drinking games, cocktail parties, Christmas dinner. I even had my parents on Zoom there, and we all had our Christmas dinner at the same time. We've all got used to it. Don't think of it as any different to that. Just relax into it as a conversation and you'll find it a lot more natural. The other tip I would give is make sure that you are as friendly and as enthused about your subject as you would be as if you were face to face. If you're not when you're face to face, we need to work on that some more. I'm only joking, but you get the idea. Is make sure you are possibly exaggerated, just that 10% extra. Be yourself. I'm a huge believer in this. Our training is not about creating a mythical blueprint of a presenter. It is about unlocking you instead of you being a reserved version of yourself or being a presenter version of yourself. It's no, unlock you, then just turn the gas up, exaggerate yourself by 10%. I always say that if I was like this when I'm at home, the wife would have killed me by now. I can assure you. But you just exaggerate yourself so it comes over with that friendliness, with that connection, with that enthusiasm. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. Your audience, I said this a second ago, might not be around you, but imagine that they're in the camera. That also includes, we'll talk to a bit in more detail, is that means look at them as much as possible. You notice that I might sort of momentarily look down to the screen here. I've got dual monitor and I look at the screen here so I can see what is actually you guys are all seeing at the moment. I've also got my presentation up on a monitor here, and I will just sort of like occasionally look up there so I can see what's coming next and any notes that I may have. But this is the most important thing. You have to get yourself into that habit of look right here. Sorry if I just poked you in the eye there. Sorry. That is your audience. So make sure you are connecting with that camera as much as possible. You need to learn to almost laugh at your own jokes and be enthused by your own information. You have to be able to do that because you're not getting that interaction that we're used to. A key thing that I really believe in, and this is to really release some pressure, is a phrase I have: strive for progress, not perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. We will all make mistakes. I can assure you I've made several already during the course of this. But you just roll. Don't make a song and a dance of it for them to see and for me to feel. Just go. Just keep going. It's not a problem. They're not judging you. In fact, I would always go as far as to say that people relate better to real people. In fact, if there's a little mistake that even is obvious, empathy kicks in. What have you done when you've seen someone just stumble a little bit? Do you kind of want to mock them, or do you just kind of go, oh, bless, it's okay, don't worry, we're enjoying this. Come on. You want to encourage them. And that's the reality. 99% of those people are going to be having that empathy. So just roll with it. Just go with it and know it's not a problem. They're going to be okay. It is not Britain's Got Talent or whatever other reality show like that. They're not there judging us. You hopefully aren't here judging me. I mean, you might be more because I'm actually giving a remote presentation on remote presentation. I mean, talk about the epitome of pressure. But generally speaking, people are not there judging you. Are you a great singer? Are you a great dancer? Did you nail that magic act? It's none of that. You are sharing knowledge with them there. They are there. You remember I said you're a messenger, not a messiah. They are there to hear that information from you. So just relax and go with it. And as I say, be yourself plus 10%. Think about it. That is all you are asking of yourself. So all I've got to do is be me, just slightly exaggerated, having a conversation about information I know. If there's gaps in what I know, I'll go and research it and have pieces of paper with those little bits of, up-to-date facts or whatever. But that's all I'm doing. That's not horrific. I can do it. I can have fun. I can enjoy it. I can go and be me. If you were sat watching a sequence of presentations throughout a day, do you really want to see exactly the same style of presenter for all of those sessions? It would get boring, wouldn't it? We're after each individual personality. What we work on is getting rid of those things that might ruin it, and unlocking you and giving you structure to be in control, to be prepared, to deal with things, etc. But if we get it down to the core nugget of this, be yourself, plus 10%, and you're off and you're running. Have a conversation about your information. I mentioned about preparation there. And they say that preparation is key, or what's that other mantra that they kick out? Fail to prepare, prepare to fail. It is absolutely right. However, I'm a staunch believer when it comes to things such as presentations, prepare the content and your intended flow, not the delivery, not memorizing the script inside out. Speeches are a little bit different, and I accept that. And we work with people on how to read ahead and regurgitate chunks at a time, things like that, rather than read speaking. But that's in the minority. In terms of presentations and training and speaking up in a meeting, just have the content, the flow you intend to go with, have that information at hand. But you don't need to, okay, I'm going to laugh here, I'm going to nod there, I'm going to throw my arms out wide there. Let it flow. It is absolutely vital to be natural, and that will change time and time again. In terms of the things to actually prepare with the likes of the content, your slides, I've got a slide here. It's not about then having a script at every point. It's about making sure that you are familiar and comfortable with the flow. So you run through it and kind of go, yeah, I know what's coming next. I know that's coming later. That even means if I start talking about it now, I say, we'll go into more detail later. I'm just conscious of the flow and the content, and I'm making sure that it goes as I expect it to do, from each point to each slide, etc. That's the reality of the preparation. If I need to create notes as reminders, and I don't know if people are aware of presenter mode. It's something we teach people on the training on, and I've got PowerPoint, other presentation packages are available. But you tick a box that says go presenter mode. And what it means is that although on the screen there, you can see the presentation itself, on my screen, I have the presentation, what's coming next, and any notes. So bits that I'm kind of going, do you know what? I might forget that. I don't want to overload the presentation slide itself. So I don't want to put it there, but I'm just going to put a note there so that it reminds me while I'm talking, don't forget this part. It's there. And if you need to have those notes and flow visible, as I say, printing slides with the notes on it. I've actually done that here. I've got notes with slides just to make sure, and this is something that I know inside out, but I've decided I want a crutch here in case I forget that there are extra notes for me to talk about. It's here. Presenter mode, as I say, and this isn't the right time to go into detail, but you can even see that when it's on single and dual and solo screen. I think I've got my presentation wrong there, dual or solo screen, and you can see how it performs. But again, that's something we cover in more detail. But just have those available in that method. I mentioned that we would go into the likes of script, or more to my point, content. Remember something. It is a presentation, a speech, a talk, a meeting, a training delivery, whatever it is that we're going to do, not a scripted drama with lines that I have to memorize. I don't know how actors do it. It just blows my mind. But lines to be able to work their way through that will include details of say it in this way. It's unbelievable. This is not a scripted drama. You just are presenting or talking or getting involved in a meeting or delivering training, delivering a pitch, whatever it is, not a scripted drama. The key reason why that is important is I genuinely believe this. Less script equals more of you. The more we confine ourselves to a detailed script, we are just focusing on deliver, remember. Whereas if it's less of a script and it's just content that I want to remind myself to talk about, to converse about, more of my personality, more of your personality is going to come out in that presentation. So what you do is that's a bit slower there. You literally make a list of the key points you need or want to cover. Make them bullet points, and as small bullet points as possible. Do not write sentences. The minute you write sentences, structured sentences for your bullet points, that's when you inadvertently, by human nature, you will start reading. Make it just the key words. I'm going to talk about X, Y, Z. I need to now mention this and this and this and this. Don't structure sentence because you're starting to script, and that will take time for you to sort of make sure you keep that habit. And what I would always suggest is you will do your bullet points, then look back at it. Right, have I done too much? Can I whittle that down even more? Because you just want to be able to look down at a piece of paper, prompt you, yep, I'm about to talk about this. Bang, off I go. And I'm now having a conversation with you about this. The exception to that is when you've got specific quotes attributed to people and you kind of go, no, I need to make sure I get that accurate. Fine, that would be in there. But that's okay to even go and to quote Abraham Lincoln, and it's there, it's available. Or equally, key facts, figures, or dates. That's fine. Put them there. That's a little bit more detail for you to put in there. But the rest of it is just these points for you to be able to work through. Then remember, it is just a guide or an ideal order. This is how I would like to go through it in an ideal world. And 9 times out of 10, you probably will. But you then deliver it in your style. The key point being here is that now means that it can be delivered with or without your slides. And that's a key one with your slides. Could you get rid of them, have a piece of paper with the bullet points on and still deliver that without your slides there? Don't read from them, just have your key points to go through. It doesn't matter if you do it in a different order because nobody knows the order you intended to do it in other than you. If you forget a script, who knows? You. That's it. Unless you make a big song and a dance about it. But just have an ideal order and deliver it in your style and have fun with it. In terms of a deeper structure, a couple of points I want to go into. Bullet points give you your middle. And this is quite often where people make the mistake of stopping. They kind of go, right, there is my content. There's my middle. What you then need to also do is plan a start and a finish. Open big and close big. So start with impact and give the context, then go into your content, and then close with impact and actions. But do it that way around. Do your middle first, then go, right, how can I open? And we cover 15 different ways that we've identified that you can open up a presentation. So many different ways, whether that's once upon a time style, whether it's a gripping fact, whether it's a photo, all sorts of things. And it gets the context across, ready for them to feed into your content. And then you finish with a big closing statement, impact, and we'll cover a couple in a minute. And what do you want them to do next? Critical. If you're there and you're pitching the charity, what do you want them to do now they've just heard this information? All too easy. It's like, phew, I've got to the end. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Well, that's really interesting. I'll go away and try and remember that now. And then life gets in the way and they don't. Make sure that the why is presented, digested, and accepted by your audience. Why is it important? And if you think about it, I've tried to do that at the start. Why is public speaking and why is public speaking via webcam so important? Because that then makes people pay more attention to your content, your key information. So get them to buy in, understand and buy in, and you're then going to get more impact with your information that you're drawing out of yourself, that you spent time collating. Then, as I said earlier, remember, you know your subject, just talk about it. And equally, as I said a second ago, remember, nobody actually knows your script, so it's not a problem. Now, in terms of that content, apologies for vegetarians amongst us or vegans or anything like that, but there is a key phrase, the sizzle and the steak. And a presentation has both. The steak, that is your bullet point contents. That is your key facts that you brought together, your key figures, your information, the details about your product, your service, your charity, your objectives. That is your steak. That is the main bulk of what you're trying to get across. The sizzle is then how you deliver that, the razzmatazz that you put around it, the attention grabbing, the emotion, the whatever else, the connection that you create. That is how you do it. It means that you've got flexibility and variations depending on who your audience is within the sizzle. The steak is what it is. The sizzle gives you your variations and how you present your steak, if you know what I mean. And remember something. There's always 3 variations of a presentation. The one you intend to give, we can see it in our mind's eye. It's going to go just like this. The one you actually give, things will change. You'll do it in a different order. You'll forget something. You know, it always happens. Or even I've added something because a conversation happened before I started, and that's now going to make it into this. And the third one being the one you wish you'd given. We're all brilliant after the time, aren't we? We're all comedians after the moment's passed. Oh, that would have been a brilliant joke. That would have been a great comeback. I'd have beaten them with that comment. Whatever. We're brilliant after the effect. Well, it's the same with presentations. But guess what? That one that you wish you'd given becomes the one you intend to give the next time you do it. So don't beat yourself up and be regimented. Just accept that you are on this constant flow. Okay, that's the one I intend to give next time. Cool, I'm going to add that in. Somebody's asked a question that made you kind of go, oh, that's a good point. I'd not covered that. I'm going to include that the next time. And then changes happen again. And then the hindsight kicks in. All we do is make sure that there's not a 4th type, the one you wish you hadn't given. We make sure we eliminate that for us all. But just relax into those 3 variations and you will be surprised how much easier you find it. But the key thing with this sizzle and steak, one without the other will invariably miss the target. If I just present the steak, boom, there's all the facts and my product, my service, my charity, my knowledge, whatever it is brilliant. It's going to kind of go, okay, yeah, that's really, really good. But remember that buying processes and buying in doesn't just mean I'm going to part cash and take something from you. It could be anything, but buying in, we have the emotion and we have the, the facts. We have the facts and we have the emotion. We need to satisfy both of those. If I just did the steak without the sizzle, I'd miss the point. If I did just the sizzle, and I'm sure we've all seen some salespeople just give it all the razzmatazz. Wow, bang, this is great. Wow, wow. You're like, yeah, well done. You've made it look good, but I still don't fully understand what it is, why I need to get involved, why I need to support that charity. You know, all charities are amazing. They're doing something special. But if you just did the razzmatazz around it, they'll kind of go, wow, yeah, I've really enjoyed this and you've certainly got my attention, but I don't really understand what the presentation is. Hope you don't mind, I'm getting warm in here, so I'm taking this off. I don't know what it is that you're offering, what I can help with, etc. So you've missed the steak. If I just did the steak, I could switch off and not be emotionally engaged with it. So one without the other could invariably miss the point. Going to quickly move on to the communication skills, if you will. And there's 2. There's physical communication and verbal communication. And I do them in the other order because everybody just assumes that it's only going to be the verbal communication. Well, it's not. It's the physical as well. Smile. Even if you are not on camera. And I've got to turn the air conditioning up 2 seconds. And I'm going to take advantage of this, that I'm not on camera. Oh, I just edged back on. In fact, it's no good because I'm probably too far away from the microphone. I'm going to cover it up instead. So I'm now speaking without a smile. Now I'm smiling as I'm saying that I'm smiling. Can you hear the difference in my voice just from smiling? Whereas when I'm not smiling, it all sounds considerably dire. That's the impact. Smile always. The problem is that if we're trying to remember our content, if we're nervous, that goes. Pick it back up again. You really need to force yourself to smile as much as possible, because it will change the way you are feeling. It will actually lift you up. It will create a better connection with your audience, and it sounds completely different. As I've just demonstrated there, completely different sound to it. Even if I'm not on camera, if it was just an audio conference rather than video, you still need to make sure you are smiling. It is absolutely critical to how it sounds and how it comes across. Sit, or even stand if you can, tall. If you think about it, you've got things like oxygen is an obvious one. If I'm sat and I'm not sat tall, then the oxygen's not flowing. I'm a voiceover artist as well, and I always make sure I'm stood tall when I'm recording pieces for voiceover. It's the same now. You can't see it other than the fact you can tell that I'm walking rather than sitting. I've got a desk that goes up, and I've got the camera on a tripod so that it's up nice and high, because that makes sure that I'm presenting with energy and enthusiasm. If I was sat down, it just starts going. Give yourself the energy, give yourself the oxygen flow to help your voice as well as your delivery. It gives you also a greater confident look, a greater enthusiastic look. It looks like, as I say there, it looks like you're actually interested. So it is vital. Body language and movement is an interesting one when it comes to online. I cover a lot with face-to-face about how you need to move, but not move too much, and how eye contact can help, ironically, control your movement and things like that. Now, when we're on camera, it's no good if I'm suddenly darting all over the place and disappearing. It doesn't work so well. But I still don't think we need to just sit still, stand still, or whatever. If I just stay there, it kind of gets all a bit samey. So be prepared to still use your body language, your movement of your body to emphasize points, to create a varied image of what people are seeing on camera. It's the same as the next point goes a step further, and it's hands. Use your hands to emphasize your points. Try not to overuse them. And I know I'm terrible at that one, to be honest. But again, with the media training, is that it's about learning an anchor point. So you've got somewhere to go back to with your hands. But try to use your hands to make a point. And it's better because I'm stood up, because it's more natural to do that. But also your facial expressions. I'd said about yourself plus 10%. This is where you do exaggerate by 10%. You know, if I'm excited, use the facial expressions, because not only does it look right on the camera, it will inflect on my voice as well. The same as if I'm suddenly really quite worried about something. If the face is telling me, then my voice will tell you. It is important to use your face as much as possible. And again, it's another one, even if not on camera, because it will come across no matter what. Here's another one I've said about looking at the camera, but again, I would encourage you to do that even if the camera wasn't on. Now, what I would probably do is, instead of looking at this external camera, is I'd be more looking at the one on the laptop, because I'm looking at the screen. But instead of suddenly I'm not on camera, so I don't need to look at it. So I'm suddenly looking everywhere else, and it's not really particularly important. It doesn't come across well audibly either. So look at the camera even when you're not on it. Here's a little tip as well. This is a cheeky one, really. If you're on a webcam, have you seen those tea bags where it's got the string and the little bit of cardboard on it? Well, cut off of a tea bag, stick that label to the outside of your mug, red wine. Everyone will think it's a red herbal tea bag. You could be in a meeting and it's a later one. You're actually, make sure it's later, by the way. I think sun over the yard arm isn't good enough. But there you go. It's a cheeky little advice. It's not really. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's just a funny one I heard. I quite liked it. I wish I had the confidence to do it. Verbal communication. First one, speed. Slow down. Now, I'm sort of conscious of time, and I'm even more conscious now. I've just looked at that, so I'm going to have to go a bit quicker. but slow down your talking. It's the immediate thing we all do is we go too quick. Especially nerves will do that. And that rush to get all that information whilst it's there, whilst I can remember, I've got to get it out, got to get it out. Well, slow yourself down, because you need to keep your brain ahead of your mouth. And it's a key phrase for me, that, because if you think about it, what normally happens is that we go, blah, 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 I've got to talk, got to get it all out. And our brain's back here going, hold up, hold up, hold up. I'm trying to keep up with you. And that's when suddenly our brain goes, what were we going to say next? Have you already said that? Or was that in the presentation you did earlier today? I'm struggling to keep up with you. And the next thing, we suddenly go, I can't remember what I was going to say next. Well, if you slow down, if you're one of those people that ums and ers a lot or uses a stock word, if you slow yourself down dramatically, I guarantee you your ums will either disappear completely or massively reduced. Because if you think, what is an it's when you're thinking. What was I going to say next? For whatever reason, in society, we now feel the need to tell people that we're thinking. I have no idea where it came from, but it's what happens. If you slow down, you suddenly don't need to and or stock word. You won't stumble over your information because you're in control of where it's going. That includes, by the way, if it's, oh, no, I can't remember what it was I was going to say. You've also got the time to go, in which case, abandon that. I'm going this direction instead. And it all happens in our brain, naturally, audibly as well. Nobody's aware that I've just had a mini panic. Slowing it down is the biggest one for me. It also gives your audience time to digest what you are saying. It gives you more chance to ad lib, for better or for worse, I know, and I'm terrible at that, but it doesn't enable you to do it. Also, on the speed side of things, pauses and breathing. And I can't go into full detail about this like we do in our training, but if you breathe properly, you're going to think better. You're not going to rush to your sentences. You're in control. But the pauses is a critical one for me. Silence is golden. I've had people say to me, I daren't stop talking because they'll think I've finished. There's always got to be noise. Absolutely not. The pause, it is okay to think for both sides. I need to leave you to think. I need to just suddenly think the next level. It is absolutely fine. It gives a dramatic emphasis to something. It's that mic drop moment. Boom. I'm just going to leave you to think about that for a second. And then I move on again. And I assure you, by the way, the pauses will feel longer to you than they do to your audience. Another one, if you habitually by the way, and it might be an initial process you have to go through, is that you habitually you get yourself into a habit of, during those pauses, silently So in your brain, I just did one then and another one then. And get yourself into that habit until you suddenly realize that's redundant. I don't need to do that. And the ums will disappear completely. So you change your perception of them. You also change the habit by silently in those pauses. By the way, just quick tip on that. If you need to force yourself to have those pauses, drink. Have a drink available. No red herbal tea bag there, look. But just forces, it's natural to have a pause, to have a break. And of course, it lubricates your throat as well. So it's a double benefit. Equally, by the way, pauses are critical when you're doing online presentations because it actually caters for potential technical glitches as well. So, you're giving people time to just catch up and whatever else. Also, in terms of verbal communication, there's 3 key words. There's a few more than this probably, but 3 key words for me, and that hence it's in the key. Conviction, enthusiasm, and passion. You need to present what you are saying, even if it's speaking up in a meeting, whether it's delivering training, whether it's giving a presentation or a speech. Deliver it with the conviction, enthusiasm, and passion that you would want to hear it from somebody else. These emotions are contagious. If you deliver your information with this conviction, enthusiasm, and passion, there are people that will be in your audience that will kind of go, wow, I'm going with you. I'm with you. I'm enthused as well. It is absolutely contagious. I'm hoping that that might even happen in this presentation, but who knows? If you think what you are about to share is boring, it will be boring. But your information is never, ever boring. I don't care what it is. And I've worked with people in every industry you can think imaginable. And what you and I might sit down and kind of go, yeah, that's not the most exhilarating of areas. Doesn't matter. The information that's being shared is interesting, is important. To the people that are sat in that audience, it is vital in some way. So give it the right level of enthusiasm. Give it what it deserves in terms of the emotion, and carry those people with you. Again, apologies to the vegetarians and vegans amongst us, but I have another phrase: dead cow or beefsteak, both exactly the same thing, but one sounds a little bit tastier than the other. So think about that. The what you are saying and how you are saying it is absolutely vital. And in basic terms, think about the conviction, enthusiasm, and passion. Right, I'm going to accelerate now because I'm conscious of the time. Starting, I said that I was going to touch on this, and these points I can go through. There's a key phrase that I live by. You're going to be nervous at the start, but don't start talking at nervous. So nervous at start, but don't start nervous. Just acknowledge that you will be at that point. Therefore, just pause, take a deep breath, make eye contact with either the people or the camera, and imagining that you are now making eye contact. In my mind, there's absolutely loads of you. You're engaged, you're smiling, you're nodding. It's great. That's fine. That is in my head. And I've now made eye contact with the camera lens in this case. Smiled. Deep breath. Smile. And now I'm off. I've got my heart rate controlled. I've hopefully created some kind of connection. And we then move into that grab the attention immediately. So again, I can't go into too much detail of the different ways, but you need to grab attention immediately, not just go into your steak. Grab the attention, you will feel that connection, you'll be ready to go. It's that starter gun is your opening gambit, and you're off and ready to go. Give the why to obtain commitment and purpose. Equally, by the way, and this is a critical one, and it was shown here, accept that the start may actually be a secondary phase when it's online. Even more so in other cases where you sometimes, I've had it where I've been invited to guest speak on online conferences, and everybody's kind of chatting with each other before it gets going, and you know, we're having those conversations already. So they kind of know that I'm the one that's going to be presenting and what I'm about to talk about and who I am. That doesn't mean you throw out this start. You still need to go back and make that impact. There's a key thing that we talk about in our training. Everybody opens up with, hi, my name's Chris Dawes. I'm from Dawes Training. Why am I opening with that? That's not grabbing your attention. You may have noticed that I went in with the information to start with. I went, you know, think about it. This is vital. And there's other bits that I intended to say at the beginning. I've just remembered. But I've gone, boom, open up with this. Left you to think for a second, and then gone, my name is Chris Dawes, the founder of Dawes Training, and I created this company to flip that on its head. So I don't want to be the one in the casket. I want to be the one delivering the eulogy. Just as a for instance. So accept that the start may be a secondary phase, but it's still vital and will have a major impact. Finishing. So I said I was rushing through these a little bit, but when you're finishing, leave them wanting more wherever possible. Don't simply finish at questions. How many times have you either done this or have you heard other people do this? They get to the end of their presentation and they kind of go, phew, thank goodness for that. Right, that was me. We got any questions? Go around, you answer all the questions and everybody's doing their bit. And all of a sudden you then go, right, any more questions? None? Thank you ever so much for your time. It's been a pleasure to be stood here talking to you. Have a great rest of the day. Think about something. You've put all your effort into your presentation and you've taken them on this graph of interest, of commitment, of desire, of motivation, whatever it is. You've taken them up there and you then go, right, any questions? And that interest and everything else is going down. If they're asking questions, it might be a bit more like this, but if they're not, it's going down. And that's when we close it. Don't finish at questions. You need to take it right back up again so that when they walk out of that room from you, they are right up here where you took them in the first place. So you need to provide a recap or a summary after the questions. If appropriate, leave them with a call to action. Have a powerful closing statement if at all possible. And there's one key habit that I really suggest you all get into. Say last what you want remembered most. Say last what you want remembered most. So that powerful closing statement, whatever it is. And on that note, I want to now, I have no idea how this works on this particular package, but before I go on to my conclusion, have we got any questions from people? I think that, I don't know whether I click on this. Let's have a look. I'll just see it's Anita's put them in there. Thank you, Lucy Payne. Great tips for any type of meeting. Much appreciated. I think you can type questions in if anybody has them. Incidentally, by the way, what I will just quickly put up whilst we're waiting, in case anybody is typing any messages, is this is a very special offer for anybody that's watching here. We also, as well as face-to-face, the big thing we've now provided is online training, where we've got trying to remember now, 10 modules and something like 7 hours of video training that you can dip in and back and forth and etc. It's got practical exercises, interaction with myself direct as well as all of this, and you get access to it for 12 months to sort of, you go and do a presentation, you can go back to certain areas. As a very special offer, because obviously I'm conscious this is charities, is that if you use the code TBE Charity 21 on our online training program, a third off, and that's valid until the 31st of December, as in sign up by the 31st of December. You've then got it for 12 months after you've signed up. But TBE Charity 21, I hope that you know that meets with approval, that I've tried to do something to give, because it's so vital for charities to come present what it is that they can do. And you know, I'm very passionate. It's not just about, you know, fat cats getting fatter and what have you. It's really good. I noticed that we've also got Alice Chalmers, so many good tips, excellent session. Thanks, Chris. Thank you very much, Alice. Carolina Treed, very useful, Chris. Thank you. I think we'll be working more and more online with presentations. You're absolutely right, Caroline. And don't get me wrong, I'm not delighted about that, because I hope you can possibly tell is that I'm much more a people person. I'd much rather that it was all face-to-face. You get to feed off of people when that happens. We have to accept that this is different, but it's not going to replace it and be gone. It's just that we're going to have to do a lot more via this. There's no question about it. So it's really, really good. I will keep an eye on it in case any questions do come in, but I'm conscious that at the moment, excuse me, they haven't. So I want to go through to the conclusion. Feel free, if you suddenly think of something, put it down. Plus you can contact me. You look at the bottom there, is the opendawstraining.co.uk is the full website, and have a look. But if you went /connect, it's just a bog standard landing page with all sorts of options of how to connect with me, to book a 30-minute session, to ask any questions. Plus there's some free downloads on nerves and how to start a presentation, the deeper ones, the online training, the face-to-face training, podcasts. I do a weekly podcast and a live video show it's every Tuesday at the moment, but I think I'm going to be tweaking the time. So have a look. It just gives you everything on there of different ways that you can connect with us. And if you remove the connect, it's our full website, but have a little look. And apparently Anita says, I also have a presenter profile on Hopin if you want to connect with him on LinkedIn. I forgot that. Thank you, Anita. I do. I'm on LinkedIn. personally and my company and my media stuff as well. Crikey, I'm terrible. I'm on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as Open Dawes Training, and as me with my motorsport commentating and all those bits and pieces and what have you as well. It's great. Right, let's get through to the conclusion. Let me, apologies, Lucy. Thank you. That was great. I appreciate that. Let me give you the conclusion because I want you to see this. Don't run off, because this is vital as far as I'm concerned, because the conclusion, he says, hoping it's going to work. There we go. It's gone slow. Key points that can make an instant difference for you right now. Slow down, take pauses and breathe. Sit tall, smile and look at your camera. Say what you have to say with conviction, enthusiasm and passion. Don't fall into the trap that, oh, there's no point having all of that because there's nobody here. Make sure that you're, thank you, Lucy. She said she's not running off. Make sure that you are saying it with at least the same level of conviction, enthusiasm and passion as you would face to face, if not slightly more, because you kind of need to make it ooze through the camera a bit as well. That doesn't mean we're changing your personality, by the way. Whatever your personality is, it's you being you, but just exaggerate yourself ever so slightly. So don't suddenly try to be your favorite presenter. Be you, just exaggerated, and make sure you don't kind of, oh yeah, I'm on a webcam, it doesn't matter. Yeah, this is that, that's the other. No, bang. It's a conversation, not a presentation.